Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit Zabi here, back again with Attack on Titan Season 4. We are on episode 24, and in the last episode, Annie is now officially back in the story, which is great to see, because obviously she has been out since the end of Season 1. That's a long fucking time out, but she has gotten pretty much thrown right back into the fray. She knows exactly what's going on, and her mission hasn't changed. She just wants to get back to see her father. Now, in the last episode, I talked about how I thought that Annie would have got on board one of the Zeppelins to get out of there to go back to Mali to see her father. But I was actually told that so the Zeppelins were actually out of there pretty much exactly as the rumbling was happening, which means that Annie would still be back where she started when they were leaving, which means that she's kind of stuck on this island then. So it kind of puts out my theory about her actually getting to her father to see that he's possibly dead, because we did kind of hear a gunshot when he attacked one of the guards. Obviously it's inconclusive because we haven't been back to see if he was actually dead or not, so that's still up in the air. But it does mean that Annie is actually somewhat stranded on Paradis now then. I don't think there is another real way to get off the island, But, we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see what happens. Yeah, so other than that, we talked a lot about how Flock is a maniac, and there was a lot of comments, obviously, talking about, his reasons for, why he's like that, and he's going down the kind of honorary Eldian route, which was the, obviously the sort of juxtaposition with the honorary Malian thing that the Malians were doing over in Mali. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, if he's looking at it as sort of like a necessary evil, I kind of see more of it as Eren's going down that route, and I see as Flock is sort of enjoying what he's doing, and he's going a bit too far. But, if he's trying to put into this sort of, kind of force it into the heads of these people that, they don't take any shit, and if you he might be trying to stop any kind of rebellion, by putting that sort of fear within them. But I don't know, man. Obviously, I'm not a fan of what he's doing right now, but we'll see where that goes. I mean, Jean has been really conflicted. He's probably been the most conflicted out of the sort of the characters, or at least it's been put up front that way. And he got this look off on Yankapon, which at this point could mean anything. We talked about it obviously in the last episode. And then at the very end, we had Hanji and Levi, and we've actually seen them now, which is nice to see. Levi's kind of on the mend, refuses to die. And they've met up with Peak and Magath. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where we go from here. Of course, we still have Connie with Falco, and someone did actually point out as well that Falco's actually his memories of Connie are actually just his own and not from Ymir. I think that was just my first inkling that he's getting these from Ymir, because I thought that would allow for them to have this sort of conversation, and maybe sort of turn Connie's sway Connie a bit in terms of giving him up, because he's awake and talking now, so they can talk this through, and maybe it'll hold up them for enough time for Armin to get there and then stop what is about to happen, because at the end of the day I don't see Falco actually dying. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much it. So we are going to get an episode 24. As always, the reaction will be here on YouTube, but if for whatever reason it gets taken off for copyright in the future, I'll re-upload this as a discussion only, and a link to the reaction will be in the description below. As always, a link to the full length of this episode is in the description below as well. So if you do want to watch my full length reaction to this episode, then the offer is there for you. But yes, nothing else to really talk about. So we are going to get an episode 24. See what we get. So without further ado, let's go. Fucking Jesus Christ! That caught me off guard. Alright, it's Hanji taking them out. So this must be before they met up with Magath and Peak then. His whole face was split open from it. Damn.
順番が来たんだ。自分じゃ正しいことをやってきたつもりでも。
Oh god, I love this.
今のまさかエレンが世界を。
I love how it lasted a second because it's instant in there.
どこだ。死を選ぶ覚悟があること見抜けずに。
Ah, he lost his fucking.
また逃がした。逃げ隠れて。何が。
He's not going to be able to use his fucking. Oh, he's not going to be able to use like his maneuver gear again, is he?
聞こえていたのか。
俺の目的はジークを殺すことだ。
Still.
あんたとは利害が一致する。手をマガとピークフィンガー打つか効くかあんたたち次第だ。
Levi doesn't care. I think
おそら
he's.
くは王家の血を利用するためにエレンに取り込まれている。始祖の巨人に我々はやるしかないんだよ。みんなで力を合わせようってやつを。
So they're purely going against Eren then. Pride.
母さんにファルコを食わせるにはどうすればいい。
That'll be the only way you
やっぱり
could do
力
it.
ずくか。素直な子だよな。こんなところで野宿することに文句も言わない。俺を疑ってもいいのに。
Then a conflict already starts.
くそ。そうじゃ。お前なら分かってくれるか。
Shit, is he there already?
病院に行くんじゃなかったんですか。どうして廃墟の村に。サシャって飛行船でガビに撃たれた仲間の兵士ですよね。
She's been there for so long.
これを俺に見せてどうするつもりですか。
巨人の歯磨きを手伝ってほしいんだ。
What,
貴重な
Connie?
体験めったにないぞ。
Come on, Falco. What? Right, they're here. Okay.
あんたを巨人に食わせようとしてる。
来るな。お前らが離れな。そう生かした方が得だって言うんだろ。だから母ちゃんを諦めろって。正しいお前なんかにバカのことなんてわかんねえよ。
ファルコ、アギトの力を使って。
Ah!
人の力。ガリアードさんは。
Fucking arm and that.
コニーを許してくれ。
Ah, he's fucking.
おい、来るなっつったのが。
He could kill his mother. He could. Oh no, he's not gonna.
だから行動で
Ah! No, 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 no. Oh my fucking god. Jesus Christ. Fuck me. Shit, I never even thought he would do
巨
that.
人を継承してな。母ちゃんには立派な兵士になれって言って送り出された。なのに息子は子供と友達を殺すかもしれなかった。アルミン、俺は母ちゃんに誇れる兵士になりたい。だから困ってる人を助けに行こう。
Okay. Yeah, she took the
私
scarf.
を
I
探し
figured
てく
as
れたんで
much.
すか。それともこのマフラーをあなたに近づけると思ってダイソーの破片がお腹にあってもう取り出せません。少しだけイエーガーさんと話したことがあります。あなたのことで。このマフラーは捨ててほしいと話してました。返して。歌に憧れて兵士になりました。悔いはありません。
巨人が地ならしの最後尾か。
Oh, they're finally away. Wow, okay. They're finally. I wonder how long that
我
actually
々
took.
エルディア帝国は100年以上にわたり世界に迫害され続けた。
なあミカサ、お前もイエーガー派に加わって統治者に名乗りてるのか。
興味ない。
ジャンはすっかりその気らしいがな。
心臓を捧げよう。
しかし本当なのかアルミン。
すべての硬質化が解かれたのなら 兄が復活した可能性も。
She's right there. Oh my god. Jesus. Yeah, she was just so like emaciated, weak. Bloody
兄
hell.
がパイをむさぼり食ってる。
ごめん、並ぶのに時間かかって。っていないし。
Where'd they gone?
偶然アルミン・コニーと会い行動を共にすることになった。先を急ぐ。迷惑をかけた。
一人じゃ食べきれないじゃない。
これよりエルディア帝国にあだなす二人の義勇兵を処刑する。
Oh, Jesus, Gene. So, Onyankopon refused then?
罪人の名はイエレナ。エレンがジークに勝利して計画は阻止されたが、罪人はジークの忠実なしもべとしてよく働いた。イエレナ、最後に言いたいことは？
まだ撃たないの。
まだ撃たない。
Wow. Really?
罪人はオニャンコポン。エルディア帝国に従って生きるくらいなら死を選ぶと吐き捨てた。
So he
気が
refused
変わった
then.
のなら今のうちに。
It's all been for nothing, isn't it?
俺の家族は皆殺しだ。で、残ったのは出来の悪い排外主義者のクズ野郎どもか。黙ってないでなんとか言えよ、じゃん。
Jesus. Oh, jeez, fucking god, man.
何のつもりだ。
Oh, fuck! Oh! Jesus Christ! He's got to be alright.
ミカサはどこだ。
He's got to have been caught up just in the mouth.
やつを。ミカサはどこだ。聞こえたか。
銃声が続けて4発。
Oh, these.
ジャンク自然続行の合図。
Oh, they all had this plan. I love it. I'm gonna call them the rescue squad.
誰かこっちを見てる。
Who's that? Is that Shardis? It looked like someone who was bald.
マニマーレと手を組んだ。
Oh.
このまま耳を塞いで部屋にこもっていたかった。でもそれじゃあ骨の燃えかすが俺を許してくれねえんだよ。
Marco.
身を確保することが車力の力を借りる条件だったんだ。生きたまま引き渡せって。
起きな。
Oh, God. Yeah, I was gonna think they would have to have gotten Rainer.
兄。
落ち着いて、ライナー。
安心してください。みんな味方です。
早く行くぞ。
God, these characters like back together and
世界を救いに。
damn. All right, okay, okay. Episode 24, and we have the rescue squad. Is what I'm gonna call them. I didn't think it would reach like this many members where they're all going. It's basically like a reunion, and after this whole time where you know you've had. You know, when you had Rainer, Berthold, and Annie, and they've always, you know, by definition, been enemies to to Paradis and whatnot. That they've all come together now in this moment to stop Eren. It's crazy that like we're at this point, and we've essentially accrued a sort of like a dream team, really, haven't we? Where they're all legitimately on side of each other. That's crazy. I mean, to think that like, you know, we've got Levi back, and but this is the thing, is like it just seems like I hope that there's some way he can still harness like the his ODM gear, because he's lost his fingers, and I'm sure when you like, you know, the sort of like the handles for the blades and whatnot, the use of the gas is used there. So now that was on one hand. Is it possible he can use it? They can probably put something together, right? They can make something that allows him to possibly use it differently, you know. Just do a bit of tinkering with current ODM gear to allow him to like, you know, to continue on. But I mean, those fingers are obviously fucking, I mean, it's huge, you know. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe they thought that if Levi was at, like, you know, his full power, that he would just be too overpowered in the end. So maybe they just had to, you know, get rid of some of his fingers in order for it to continue. This is interesting going forward, man. I mean, I figured that this was the only way it could legitimately go without it just being, you know, because when you look at the characters that are left, it does put into perspective when you have the, you know, the rumbling start and everything, and then pretty much everyone is kind of just like, well, there's nothing we can do now. Almost having that sort of sense of like like there really is nothing that they can do, so they kind of almost sat back and accepted that. But, you know, after some thinking about it, really, they've decided to completely go against them and save the world. So yeah, it makes sense, I guess, for the you know, the story and you know, the alleged like amount of story left, that the only characters that are capable of possibly stopping Eren are pretty much all of them together. So yeah, it's cool to see them all together on the same side. I'm kind of gutted that Hitch didn't go with them, because you would think that, like, she would have, right? I don't know. I mean, you could have at least give her the option, but I don't know. I just felt like it was, like, really sad that she came back with a full pie and, like, there was nobody there, you know. It's like kind of like she's on her own. So, you know, you could have given her the option to come with, but never mind. So yeah, Levi to kill Zeke, of course. That's always been the case ever since ever since that plan with Irvin. It's always been, I'm gonna kill this guy eventually. It's going to happen, and I love the fact he just doesn't give it up. You know, he's still gonna go. I did really like that opening scene, because obviously it was, you know, it was done in sort of like a flashback sense to before they met up with Magath and Peak and whatnot, and you see that split second where they go into the coordinate and come back out. I just love the way that it's handled in real time, you know, because the idea, it's instant, right? It's instant, and it also takes time. So when you're in there, you're listening to Eren give the whole speech, and then you're coming back out of it, but looking from the outside, looking in, it just happens in an instant, you know. And I love that, and I love the fact that that was like the trigger to wake Levi up, as well. But Levi, his first words are like, what is it, like something along the lines like, where's like, you know, where's that beast bastard? You know what I mean? That the thing with Levi, and it will be interesting to see if we ever hear him on his thoughts about Eren or whatnot, because his sole focus is only on Zeke, you know. So I don't know. I do really want to get his opinion on Eren. So yeah, we've got them all on side. In terms of like the crew that we've got here, we've got Levi, Hanji, Peak, Magath, Armin, Connie, Falco, Gabby, Raina, Annie, Jean, Mikasa. Fucking Jesus Christ. It's just them all, isn't it? I did actually, now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, I did forget that one shadowy character, that shadow dude. I think it was Shardis, right? It's funny, like, his name's Shardis, and he's hanging out in the shadows. But it has to be, right? Because I think if what you're looking at is like him looking over his cadets, right? Like they're all together again, like for real this time, and he's looking at them from there, you know. So I don't know if we'll see Shardis again. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in terms of like Flock going ahead, you know. Like what does he do? Because really he's totally on side of Eren, so he has to amass a sort of a force to go after them, right? I mean, that's the thing, is like the way that the plan sort of worked out, and it was a great plan, by the way. I love that they were, you know, on the side, they were planning this whole thing. But the idea that the way that it sort of planned out, it could have been construed to like, well, Jean's dead by saving Flock, that, you know, it would at least give them time to get away, to make sort of Flock think that, you know, something different happened to what actually happened. But I mean, just the way that it sort of played out, it was like, you've got a million thoughts running through your head when you're watching the whole thing, and it's like, fuck, Jean, is he going to die here? If they're coming in only after Onyankopon and whatnot. I guess the only way you really, like, are so sure is after the whole, like, oh, I guess I missed, and picking up on that is like, well, that's just a weird thing to say, that it must be some sort of signal. But that's the thing, is like, when it's happening so fast, you can't collect thoughts fast enough to recognize exactly what's going on, and from every angle. You know, because when the whole thing's happening, it's like, holy shit, he's actually allowing Flock to die here. Like, he's actually going to let the Car Titan eat him, and that obviously wasn't what was the case. It was for the Car Titan to pick up, you know, the Onyankopon, Yelena, and Jean, and to get the fuck out of there. But that's the thing, is like, it was never like, the plan clearly wasn't construed that way, because that's the thing, is like, Flock immediately thought of like, shit, where's Mikasa and whatnot, thinking that he's already figured out that they're trying to, you know what I mean, that they've come up with a plan aside from the whole thing. But yeah, man, I was like, I wasn't ready for an execution scene, and I was thinking, shit, like, you know, something's gonna happen here. I guess, like, in hindsight, I can remember some things through the episode where I was like, you can pick up that something's off here. I mean, Jean, the fact that, like, previously they've obviously put him in that sort of delicate sort of balance where you like, you know, you can think that he can go one side or the other, but really it's Jean, so he's never going to, surely. And if he does, he'll eventually change back, you know. But you can see, like, a few things. I mean, Mikasa, her sort of demeanor was really, like, almost like very cold and angry. And I don't know if it's just the fact that the way that she is sort of being portrayed, is it the reason that, like, she's trying to cut off the whole Eren thing? But then if she did that, why would she grab the scarf? It's something that, you know, if she was truly trying to cut off that whole Eren thing, that she would allow Louise to keep the scarf. I thought that was cold, man. I feel really bad for Louise, because her whole, like, God, you can remember back to when she was saved and just a little girl, you know, and then it's like, you know, she's grown up and she has this whole thing about Mikasa, and it's like, I don't know, is Mikasa purposely being cold to try and stop that connection? But, like, the thing is that she's dying. I just thought it was really cool, you know. So yeah, I don't know. I feel really bad about Louise. Let me know if you not feel the same, or if you know more information than me, and you kind of get the sort of take that Mikasa, the reason why she's doing what she's doing. But this is the thing, is like, going forward, when you have this crew going up against, you know, Eren, it's like they are, I mean, because when you look at it from the outside, right, Eren's doing this for the sake of them, right? So if they literally come out and say, well, you know, we don't want this either, it's like them just, you know, we're not going to let you do this on behalf of us. This is our choice, you know? And come to the end, you could have a situation where, because you have the likes of, you know, the Eldians and whatnot, like, coming out and trying to save the world from you know, their own people, and it could possibly put them in a space where the rest of the world see what they're trying to do, and then therefore forgive them for it, and then you have a peaceful world where there is not genocide on either or, you know. So you know, you don't have to euthanize the Eldians and you don't have to kill off the entire world and just be one or the other, you know. And I think that's probably the way that it will end up, but getting there is going to be interesting because Eren, I just feel because he's so, I mean, if you go to the whole thing of just moving forward and the whole like Attack Titan thing and everything like that, it kind of dictates that like this whole idea that, you know, Eren and the Attack Titan kind of go hand in hand with the way that they are. Like, Eren's so focused on one thing, I don't see, you know, if you have the likes of, you know, Mikasa and Armin and Connie and Jean and all of this crew that, like, he says he's doing all of this for, come out and basically oppose him, what does Eren do? Does he keep moving forward, almost acting like he's doing this for the betterment of them because they don't truly understand the consequences? Like, is that the way that Eren's going to think about it? Because I think so. Like, however this comes to an end is going to be interesting. And I mean, I was right. Previous episodes, I was like, well, Zeke's got to be a part of the whole thing. Like, Eren's almost holding him hostage in that place, which is crazy to kind of think about. That, like, this whole thing that Zeke didn't want to do is the complete opposite of what he wanted to do, and he's kind of having to, like, be forced to sort of watch it happen, you know, which is fucked for him. But I guess if you look at it sort of on that level, it's interesting to kind of look at it like that, where you have Zeke all on one side, wanting to get rid of all of the Eldians, and then you've got Eren on the other side who wants to kill everybody but the Eldians. And you've got these two just sort of really sort of out there ideas. It's on completely opposite sides to one another, as far of those sides as you could possibly be. Why isn't there a middle ground? You know what I mean? Because when you look at war and everything that's happening, and Jesus Christ, the whole, like, well, the whole Ukraine situation is nuts. Like, how we can live in the times we are now and somebody is going through with trying to conquer another country is mad to me. Like, fuck Putin, man. Fuck him. He's an arsehole. There's something fucking, like, there's something wrong in the head with people like that. And this is the thing, is like, if you have people who are on either sides of the war that, like, you know what I mean, they're so, I don't know, you can't, like, can you really change their mind? Well, that's the thing, is like, you know, this whole thing of, like, where's the middle ground? How can you do this that achieves peace, that does things the right way, as opposed to being so on one side of the coin and not seeing the other side, you know? And you can get into that with fucking politics as well. All of those that are far right and far left and whatever, it's like you're all arseholes. You know what I mean? It's about finding the fucking middle ground, not, you know? And I think, you know, if you look at that in terms of, you know, Zeke and Eren on either sides of the coin, they're just as far on those sides as possible. The right action and the correct one is to be the middle ground, you know? And so it's going to be interesting, like, if we come to the end of this and it turns out that the end of it is to kill off, you know, Eren and Zeke, and, like, that's the sort of, like, the end of it, and if you achieve peace that way, then sort of in a way Zeke and Eren kind of achieved peace in some form or fashion, right? They just wanted to do it on their terms, keep the Eldians alive, and that's it, or kill all the Eldians, and then that'll be fine as well. So for them, that was the peace. Like, that's how peace would be achieved. But if it comes to this, where it's like, well, Eren is the, you know, he's like the big evil now, right? If you take care of him and the world sees you do it, then you can, you know, your race of people as Eldians can be forgiven, as the people have seen what you, like, you are actually trying to help, and then you've achieved peace. Now, I don't know if it's that way inclined with Eren. I mean, we know that he can kind of see the future, but it's through sort of I think that obviously the way that it works with the Attack Titan is like you see it through future, future Attack Titans. So it wouldn't surprise me coming to the end of the story that Eren ended up doing what he always meant to do, which was make himself the big bad. And that I've said this before, like there's a possible similarity with another show that I reacted to that it does something very similar. So it'll be interesting to see if that is the way that it is going forward. What else? Armin about to sacrifice himself. Fuck me. I never saw that coming, but it makes total sense why he would actually force himself into that situation, especially in the last episode. Like he'd actually come to the realization that I was the one that shouldn't have come back. It should have been Erwin. And putting himself in that situation is such an Armin move. And it was genius because it almost like called Connie's bluff, but it was a big move like by Armin that he had to almost psych himself up for it, and it ended up working. And I love the fact that because you can tell Armin wasn't doing this he wasn't doing it to call Connie's bluff. Like he wasn't like, it's all right, I'm not going to die because Connie's going to come save me anyway. Because the idea was like he was actually prepared to die there, because he told Gabby please forgive Connie before, you know what I mean, so that would be, so that Connie would, be all right after Armin had died, right? But absolutely insane, man. So Falco's now aware of everything. We saw him obviously in tears about his brother, and now he's got the jaw titan and whatnot, and he's going to have to learn how to use that for the upcoming the war. And I'm sure Ryan will do a good job of training him. So what else? The Wall Titans are away now. The rumbling has, well, it's still going, but it's away from Paradis now. I mean, I don't know how much more of Paradis we'll see, really. It could take place off on different continents in the rest of the world, but we'll wait and see on that. But because I don't really know how much more there is to do on Paradis now. Everything's kind of wrapped up there. The only thing that's not is Flock and the Jaegerists. But if you assume that they're obviously going to try and stop the rescue squad, then they would obviously have to follow them out. And then other than that, I don't see there being anything else. It kind of almost felt like a send off with that is Shardus looking on his cadets and Hitch just there on her own kind of thing. Feels a bit sort of melancholy in that regard, but yeah. I like it. I loved it when Jean obviously mentioned Marco, but kind of referred to it as those ashes, because I'm sure that they were burned, right? All of the all of the sort of the corpses from the Battle of Trost and whatnot were all sort of gathered up and burned. I think that's what he was referring to there, and of course, because that's the things Marco's always been there with Jean. Is Marco was almost the one to actually put Jean, put him on that path that changed him forever. That Marco was the one that changed him from being, from that guy who kind of was a coward and wanted to basically go on to the inside and join the military police. Marco was kind of the one that steered Jean in the heroic direction. So yeah, that was nice for that to be brought back up. So yeah, I mean, going from now, I can't wait. I can't wait to see what we get. I can't wait for it's going to be interesting to see how much of the world it takes for because this is the thing, it's not going to be it's not going to be over quick. Eren, I imagine, will get to Mali, and I think he will trample that whole place. We could see that whole who's Mikasa's people, right? That the sort of the Asian the Asian people that came and obviously like to see Mikasa and everything and try to pry her away, like you know, to become like the, you know, the empress or whatever. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that place turn up, and then therefore you can have like Mikasa like almost fighting for like her own people kind of thing. It'll be interesting. But yeah, so going ahead, I'm excited. But that is all I've got. So thank you for watching. In the description below, I think certain things. One of them is the Discord, so you can get yourself over there if you wish. And I also have a Patreon page as well. So if you do want to support me on Patreon, that'd be very much appreciated. There is a bunch of different tiers and rewards there. Like early access gives you access to shows a week early. The full length tier, which gives you access to full length reactions to all the shows I do. And then there is the exclusive tier, which gives you access to full length movie reactions I do as well. And I'm planning on bringing another movie up soon. But so yeah, if you're excited for that, it's coming. But that's all I've got. So thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.